jungle, everyone. I'm Kyle Phelps, and we've somehow got an even more unstoppable, unshakable, can't-miss show for you this week. If you're a fan of the sport of football, I urge you to subscribe to this channel because you will never forgive yourself if you don't. We started this week in Lambeau as the Packers took down the Commanders 27-18. The Commies made a surge late in the game, and that's pretty much where all those stats came from. But down 17-3 at the beginning of the fourth, they needed to be damn near perfect to even really have a chance in this game, and they were far from it. I mean, like, Zach Ertz had a nice game, but I left him on the bench on my fantasy team, so fuck me, I guess, right? They gotta be the favorites to win the Super Bowl at the moment. I don't know. I think Tom Grassi himself might have an aneurysm. If he hits 1 million subs and the Packers win a Super Bowl due to a trade that makes his dad and Scooter Magooter squirm, that man's about to just die of happiness immediately. Speaking of depressed Cowboys fans, though, they came so close to tying the New York Giants this week. I was rooting so hard for it, man. They made Russell Wilson look like it's 2013 again with that defense. But Kenny Clark got another sack, so bravo. Good job, Jerry Jones. You're really getting it done there, aren't you? Then we move along to the Lions and Bears. Nothing out of the ordinary here, right? You know, go ahead and move. Jared Goff had how many touchdowns? 5? No interceptions. Only missed 5 throws all night. Huh. And the Lions had 177 rushing yards. God damn, they were pissed at Ben Johnson. Well, anyway, let's move along to Miami, where the Patriots slayed the beast that is the Miami Dolphins in what was probably the single least consequential game of the entire season. The Dolphins really needed to show us this week that they got something to prove, particularly that Mike McDaniel isn't just a dead man walking, and you know, for a little bit, it looked like they might get their wish, and then, you know, Tua did what he does best, turn the ball over. 33-27 Dolphins, they might not win another game all year, y'all. Down in the Bayou, you had another candidate for the worst team in the NFL, needing to prove something against a very beatable opponent. But you know what? I'll say it. Spencer Rattler looked pretty good here, man. You know, until, like, he fumbled the ball on 4th and 1 with the game on the line. But, you know, it turns out Mac Jones ain't that much different from Brock Purdy after all, huh? I wonder if I know anybody who tried to tell people that all fucking week. But hey, y'all remember last week when we all thought that the Jets might be better than expected because they went toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers? Aaron Rodgers that looked really good, by the way. What a game that was, you know? Justin Fields looked like he was finally unlocked and ready to prove himself against his old team, that they made a mistake in not committing to him and going and trading for Aaron Rodgers. Didn't get the win, but they showed a lot of promise, and then they followed up by losing 30-10 to the Bills and not even looking remotely competent the whole time. Perhaps last week's result said more about the Steelers and their defense than it did about the Jets as a whole. In LA, the Rams beat the Titans 33-19. Stafford was looking comfortable, you know, like he hasn't in a while. You know, Rams fans are getting excited. It is the Titans, so, you know, pump the brakes a little bit. Maybe it's not quite time to get super excited yet. The Rams defense made Cam Ward's life absolutely hell this week, though. And that's honestly the real story. That guy didn't have a chance. Rams roll, Titans suck. Speaking of hopeless, man, the Panthers. I really thought that they were going to show us something a little bit more this year than last year, and boy, I seem to have been wrong as hell so far. They couldn't get a thing done on the ground against the Cardinals. And, you know, I mean, Hunter Renfrow and Ted McMillan, you know, they do look like they have some chemistry with Bryce Young, who didn't look horrible in this game, you know, after he turned the ball over in the first 2 drives and basically handed the Cardinals 10 points right off the bat. But other than that, it went great. All right, so the next game we got is the Browns in Baltimore. Damn, man. All these bad teams, just such a fucking drag to talk about. Like, do I have to talk about the Browns? I really don't want to talk about the Browns. I was hoping that the Joe Flacco magic might turn on a little bit this week, trying to get one over on his old team. But no, it was just another game for Lamar Jackson to put on a highlight reel. He looked superhuman. 2 weeks in a row, by the way. The Ravens dropped 40 points in both of those weeks. This time it was against a really good Browns defense. Yuck. Speaking of yuck, let's move on to the next game, which is the well, yeah. You know what? I don't really want to talk about this one. You know, it's my show, right? Like I can do whatever I want. Yeah, fuck you. All right, see ya. Fine. Whatever. All right, we'll talk about it. Look, I know half of y'all came to see my pain anyway, so whatever, we'll talk about it. It was probably one of the most exciting games of the week. You had the Cincinnati Bengals finally getting to 2-0 for the first time under Zach Taylor in his entire tenure here. And they did it in spectacular comeback fashion against a pretty solid Jaguars team against whom they might be fighting for a playoff spot at the end of the year. Let's go, honestly. I'm getting hyped just to think about it. And to think they all got it done by being led by Jake Browning. Because Joe Burrow tore ligaments in his toe early in the second quarter. And he's might be out for another season. Yeah. I have no idea why, but Sunday Night Football was a marquee matchup between the Minnesota Vikings and the Atlanta Failcants, as Mikey loves to call them. Well, I'll tell you what, those Failcants got Bijan Robinson going with 143 yards rushing, and Michael Penix didn't fuck anything up this week, so that's good. J.J. McCarthy, on the other hand, tossed 2 interceptions and looked like garbage. Maybe I spoke too soon about the championship DNA last week, I don't know. Was there anyone on the planet who was upset when Nick Chubb got that breakaway run for what felt like could have been the game-winning score in the Texans-Buccaneers game? I mean, other than Buccaneers fans, they probably weren't too happy about it at the time. But the rest of us, I think we all smiled a little bit just knowing what that man has been through. I mean, just think about it. Like, playing for the Browns? God, imagine. As for the rest of the team, though, it felt like the Buccaneers were just trying to hand the game to the Texans all night long, and they just refused to take it. At the end of the game, Baker Mayfield and Bucky Irving basically just said, fuck it, I'll take it then, thank you very much. Alright, well, now that that's done, I am living in a never-ending hell loop. Yes, as a Bengals fan, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it. I can't even enjoy the Steelers being 0-2, and the Chiefs also being 0-2, and the Bengals being 2-0 and in first place in the AFC North. Why do you hate me? But hey, whatever. Now that you've been beaten over the head with the most comprehensive possible information that you could ever want on this week's games, we'll test your knowledge this week as we bring in our Power Rankings correspondent, Mikey. Show us what you got this week, Mikey. How you doing?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on this beautiful Monday night. I know y'all seen this on a Wednesday, but here it's a beautiful Monday night, man. Can't complain. Well, speaking of the power rankings, here we go. So I'm gonna start from, I think I started from 1 to 10 last week. Here I'm gonna start from 10 going up to 1. So at number 10, and guys, at number 10 I got the Los Angeles Chargers, and this is based off the Chiefs game, because like I said, I couldn't have predicted what was going to happen in this race. But I have Chargers at number 10 because it was like they just beat the Kansas City Chiefs, which at the time, hey, they still might make the playoffs, man. We're still 2 weeks into the season. We're only 2 weeks into the season. But I almost put them in the 20s. That's how. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put them at 19. I'll be a little bit generous. But anyways, Chargers are at number 10 because, you know, they did beat the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are 0-2. So I couldn't justify putting them in the top 5 just yet. but I got Chargers at number 10. I just think, Justin Herbert played like an MVP candidate last week. And number 9, I put the San Francisco 49ers. And this has everything to do with them winning with the backup quarterback. As much as it hurt my soul, Mac Jones, he played efficient, other than fumbling the ball in the third quarter, which gave the Saints a lot of momentum that we actually scored a touchdown after the fumble, but then we, did bad stuff. I do think the 49ers defense does need a little bit of work after Sunday's game against the Saints, because you did let Spencer Rattler throw 3 touchdowns, and I'm not trying to hurt my boy, but you're supposed to be the 49ers. But the only reason I put you in the top 10 is because I had you in the top 10 last week and you just won with the backup quarterback. So I was like, okay, I'm going to drop you, but not out of the top 10. At number 8, I put the New England Patriots, and this might surprise a lot of you, but hear me out. The Patriots are number 8 because Drake May looked pretty good, actually played pretty well against a division rival. I understand it's the Dolphins. If you're playing against a division rival, I take that with full accountability. I don't just look at a division rival and if they're 0-2, and trust me, you know how I think about the Dolphins.
Mikey, I'm sorry. I have to interrupt you for a sec. You took the Patriots from being number 25 last week in your power rankings, and then they almost lose to the Dolphins, and then get it together later on. And so now you've got them the 8th best team in the NFL.
Look, I do my rankings by a brand new week system.
I'm sorry, was that a brand new crack smoking system?
Don't get me wrong, week 1 does matter. But I don't take my week 1 power rankings from week 2 going on to week 18. And if we do this in playoffs, that's when I'm actually going to be like, okay, who did I have last week? Because week 1, I didn't really count. That was just basically like the 4th preseason game. But anyways, let's move on to Kyle's favorite team. As number 7, I put the Cincinnati Bengals. And this had everything to do with them winning with Jake Browning in the game. And I told Kyle this before we started this episode. Jake Browning might be the Jaguars' legal fathers, because if y'all don't remember, back in 2023, when Joe Burrow suffered that season-ending injury against Baltimore, a few weeks later, Browning plays against the Jacksonville Jaguars, lights them the crap up, and wins that game in overtime. And here, hey, he played hero ball. Well, we didn't really play hero ball, but he scored the game-winning touchdown, and Swaggy can go suck it.
People accuse me of not being fair sometimes on my power rankings, so I want to come through and show y'all that I am truly unbiased. Mikey, you took the Bengals from number 9 in your power rankings last week, and then they potentially lose Joe Burrow for the entire season, and you're like, oh yeah, they're better now.
No, okay, bro. Here's why. Y'all won with a backup quarterback. That's why I kept the 49ers in the top 10. Because they showed winning when it mattered.
I'm not sure we won this week. I'm not.
Well, if I looked up the Cincinnati Bengals record, it says 2-0, and so I put you with the other 2-0 teams. Other than the Patriots. I ain't gonna lie. To be honest, I totally forgot why I didn't put the Patriots in the top 10. I don't know. It was late at night, so that's probably why I'm... Number 6, we got the Philadelphia Eagles. And I dropped the Eagles a bit because I feel like the top 5 teams kind of proved themselves, and the Eagles did, to me. Yeah, they beat the Chiefs, but let's be honest, the Chiefs are literally the Los Angeles Lakers of the NFL. For example, I hate to crap my own team, if they would have beat a team like the Saints, no one would have took it seriously. If they would have beat the Saints 20-17, no one would have took the Eagles seriously. If they would have beat the Titans 20-17, nobody, but it's the Chiefs are supposed to put them at number 1 still. I mean, bro, the Chiefs are 0-2, man. Hey, we gotta treat the Chiefs like they're an 0-2 team.
Mikey, I'm sorry, but you had the Eagles at number 2 last week, and they beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, in a close game, and we're not really sure about the Chiefs right now in general. How is that worth a 4-point drop?
Because the 5 teams I put ahead of them, I feel like had better games.
So it's like you just lack object permanence. You just don't have the ability to understand that other games have happened and other things have happened other than literally what just happened last week.
Don't get me wrong, I also did it by projections because, you were crying about that last week of how I wasn't projecting. And I think the 5 teams at their current pace might have a better chance than the Eagles do right now.
You know what? You're allowed to have your opinion. And I respect the fact that you're at least incorporating projections this time.
Hey, 33-19 is 33-19, so I think the Rams are at number 5. At number 4, I got the Arizona Cardinals. So this might shake some heads, don't get me wrong. I know they barely beat the Panthers, but hear me out. They beat the best team in the world last week, okay? And then they were blowing out the Panthers, bro. I understand the Panthers came back or whatever. But I mean, it was a blowout till the end of the game, and like the Panthers, they had like a faulty comeback. Like that was not a true comeback. The Cardinals, they just took their foot off the gas. Okay, now if the Panthers would have won, the Cardinals would have dropped. But you know, Cardinals, and number 4.
I'm not sure who makes me question reality more, Mikey. Joe Burrow's decision making with his own body, or you. With your power rankings.
What did I do?
You put the Cardinals at number 4.
The other two of those teams. Anyways, I put the Colts at number 3, and I think this is legitimate, man. Like week 1, you blow the crap out of the Dolphins, which they are the Dolphins, and they are the worst team in football. At least they were when I ranked them there. But then they just beat the Broncos, which a lot of people have as a playoff. And I understand they only won because of some fluky flags or whatnot. That ain't the first time Sean Payton was ready to a flag. Like I'm not saying the flag wasn't warranted that time, but that's
you just had to throw that shot in there, didn't you?
I had to. That's not the first time Sean Payton got robbed and at the end of the game or whatnot. But yeah. Look, the Colts. I mean, look, a win is a win. Man. This ain't college, man. Where wins can count as losses. Trust me, LSU they're 3-0, yet they feel like they're 1-2. To be honest with you, but yeah. Colts at number 3, they did beat up on Dolphins, but then they go ahead and beat the Broncos, which a lot of people consider a playoff team, or at least playoff caliber team. You know, the Broncos defense is one of the best defenses in the NFL. The Colts put up 29 on them. Even if they wouldn't have won the game, I might have had them around the top 10. Like, probably not in the top 10, but they would have been in the top 15 for sure. And at number 2, I got the Buffalo Bills. Like, they had that great week 1 game, but then week 2, they blew the crap out of the Jets. But it's the Jets, okay? Like yeah, the Bills, I was considered, it was either them or Green Bay that we'll get to in a second. That was going to be my number 1 team. The Bills definitely, if you look at like the score, the Bills are probably number 1 team for you, but I look at more than that. I look at it as like a college standpoint. You know, in college, they go by strength of schedule. They go by who you beat, who you lost to. That's what I like to do. And the Bills, they came back against the Ravens. They blew out the Jets. The Green Bay Packers. You know why I put them at number 1? They beat 2 playoff caliber teams, and it's not like they had to come back to beat one of them, or they struggled with the other one. They basically blew them both out. You played the Lions to just beat the Bears 52-21, and I don't even have them in my top 10 after that performance because I still need to see more out of them after that week 1 game.
I don't even know what to say at this point, but Mikey, you're always good time with these power rankings. You've got some interesting opinions, but you know what? That's all part of the fun, I guess. Everybody give it up to him. I know y'all going to have something to say about it. Next, we're going to bring in our field reporters, Nick and Jake Boschool, to see what they dug up this week. So say hi to everybody, guys.
Hello, everybody. I'm Nick. I'm Jake. And welcome to episode 2 of Niche Nonsense.
We got some great stuff for you week 2.
The show where we give you the best of sports news. That is very serious, right?
Not at all silly.
Not at all silly. Yes. Not at all stupid in any way, shape, or form.
No.
So the first thing that we're going to open with is the Panthers versus Cardinals game.
What happened?
I noticed that we had a really quick first score for that.
How fast?
Zaven Collins scored a touchdown for the Cardinals in the first minute and a half. It was a sack into a fumble, and it rolled towards the end zone, and he grabbed it and scored.
That's pretty fast.
Very quickly.
That's pretty fast.
So that is the fastest of the season.
Yes. In week 1, there was in the Buccaneers versus Falcons game. You had Bijan Robinson. He caught a pass into a touchdown in the first minute and 46 seconds of the game. Which was also fast, but not as fast as this one in week 2.
Yeah. Both of them being
with the quickness, we thought, like, is this a record?
I did do some research, and we did find that it is not a record. That honor goes to Randall Williams, because in 2003, he caught the ball during kickoff and scored a touchdown for the Cowboys in the first 3 seconds.
3
Can you believe
seconds.
that?
That's really fast.
That's really quick.
Really fast.
It makes me wonder, will it ever be beaten?
We'll see.
That was kind of before the game even started,
Yes.
which is crazy.
Very crazy. With the triumphant, the celebratory, quick touchdowns.
Yeah.
There was a lot of celebrations this week, and while we're watching the game, it made us think, what are the best ones? So we have compiled a top 5 list of the top 5 celebrations, touchdown celebrations in week 2.
So in order to make the list,
that's right.
You gotta be from the winning team.
Yes.
Because if you're not from the winning team and you celebrate, then that's embarrassing.
Celebrations mean nothing if you lose in the end.
Right, and then we're also doing one celebration per game. So that way we can talk about multiple games, and it's not like
makes sense.
One game.
I'll bring it off with the number 5 spot.
What's number 5?
It was DeAndre Hopkins. He was a wide receiver for the Ravens. He had this one-arm bow pose that he did after his touchdown, and it was very memorable, but it didn't have the energy of later rankings.
Just like number 4 was T. Higgins for the Bengals. He did like a slow walk forward into like a Spider-Man arm wheel.
Yes.
And ended up with an arm pump. It had charisma, it had energy, it hyped the crowd up, and also had multiple steps to it, which is why it made our list.
Right. Number 3 was actually 2 people. Both of them were wide receivers for the Patriots. You had Stephon Diggs and Mac Hollins. And together they did this 2-hand back slap and ending it off with a right arm hook.
Yeah.
Had a lot of weight to it. It involved 2 people.
You know how much we like group effort.
Exactly.
And that's why it made the list. That's sitting at number 3.
That's right.
Number 2 was
what is number 2?
Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Lions. He faked a hamstring injury.
Yes.
And that's
faking
very
an injury.
unusual.
Very disrespectful.
And that can be a good or bad thing depending on who you are.
Yeah. Number 1 was actually not a wide receiver. It was a tight end for the Packers. It was Tucker Kraft, and he jumped into the stands and had this cheering session with everybody in the crowd.
Yeah,
and everyone got excited, and all that energy made us want to put that at number 1.
Just pretend that there's people behind me in the dramatic reenactment. But it was involved the players and the fans. Which is why
very
we liked
fun.
It so much.
Yes.
So now it's time for our predictions.
That's right, predictions.
And we know exactly what's going to happen.
In week 3,
we know exactly what's going to happen. We know that before the game even starts, Curtis Samuel for the Bills is going to have the first pre-game touchdown.
It's going to be so quick. It's going to happen before the game even begins.
It's going to be a 0-second touchdown.
That's right. Number 2, our second prediction, is going to be in the Packers game.
Oh, yeah.
Where after their first touchdown, the whole team is going to get together and do a full team Macarena. That's right.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to involve
memorable.
everyone in the team. It's going to be the best touchdown celebration of all time.
Oh, it's going to happen.
Yes.
Just like how we know that giant glowing gophers are going to rain from the sky.
Very,
the Chiefs
very
versus
reasonable.
Giants.
Very
That's
reasonable.
Totally going to happen. 100% accurate.
Yes.
You're going to see it in week 3. So that's all the time we have.
We got.
Thanks for tuning in.